Hello everyone. In today's video, we are going to learn how to design a coffee shop application. Well, we are going to design just one single screen, but that screen is also quite challenging to build. And we are going to see how we can optimize all the stuff, all the coding that we do. But before starting the video, I would like to share something with you. We have lots of courses available, and all the courses links are available in my website, whose link is there in the description. Go and check that out right now. Along with that, we also have complete platforms built on food delivery applications, where you have admin portals, applications, along with backend too. Everything is integrated along with UIs built for a lot of things. So go and grab that out. Everything is available into our website. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to design this modern cafe shop application home screen. Now, what is challenging about this particular design? Well, first of all, if you see here, the tabs design which we can see is little different from the one which we have built till now, because you see a dot and the title, or you can say the label, is coming up only on the ones that is selected, not on the ones that is not selected. So this is what we need to do. We have already prepared similar kind of a design, but this is little different. Now, if I skip this part, since I think you might be able to pull it off by looking at my other designs, if we come back to the top part, which is the home screen, as because this is the tabs part which we are going to design. And within that, we have the home design, where this is the search bar. Now, the search bar is quite different. We don't get a direct component for this particular search bar with this button. So we need to design it up. Basically, we need to perform the customization part in here. And then this is pretty simple. After that, we are working with these sliders. So using Swiper.js, we are going to make it slide horizontally. And the same thing will go to the next part, which will show the coffee items. Now, we are not going to work on this category change to show different kinds of products, but just for the design part, I'll show you how this can be achieved. And later on, if you want to change the products, definitely you can work on that. And lastly, we will have another horizontal list where we are going to show today's deal. So this is the whole stuff that we are going to build. This will also be a horizontal list. So to pull this off, what we need to do, we need to start off with the tabs part at first. That's how we do it. First of all, the main part. Then within this home screen, we are going to break down everything one by one and prepare it up. So this video will be focusing on how we are going to achieve the design, because just saying the code won't help you out in understanding how exactly we are building. And to get the code, definitely you can check the description and get the code from there itself. Alright, so without wasting any more time, let's get started. Now, in the basic design that we have, well, what I have done here, I've created a new project, and let me tell you, Angular 20 is already launched. If you haven't checked my video yet for Angular 20, you can simply check it out to understand what are the changes that is being introduced. And what can you expect in Ionic also later on, because in Ionic, as of now, the version is 19 in the latest one. I checked it out. It is still in 19 version. Hopefully, they're going to upgrade it pretty soon. So we'll be able to see the 20th version, but you don't worry. There won't be any much difference. Whatever we are doing as of now and whatever we have done in the past, it's gonna remain the same. You just need to copy this SRC folder and all the theming and everything. Everything will remain the same. All right. Just few add-ons are there. So don't need to worry about anything. Now, I have to change a little bit of the design in the app folder, because we need the tabs layout. And for that, whatever we have done earlier, we are going to perform the same stuff only. Like, I'm going to get a new terminal here, in which I'm going to create a page called tabs. So Ionic G page, let's say within a pages folder, it's better to keep it in that way. And then the tabs folder will come up. After we get that, within the tabs folder, I'm also going to have my home screen or home page, and I'll delete this home page, which I don't need it anymore. If you want, you can definitely move that particular home page inside without creating a new one. But I think creating a new one is fine, because the earlier code will get removed. Everything will be ready, and we just need to prepare the routes so that we can work on it very easily. So in the routes part, what exactly I need to do? Well, I need to make this tab screen to be the default route. To make that happen, I'll just change this up, because we don't have any load home component directly. We do have, but in a different location, right? This is the one which we already have. So actually, I don't need to change this up. I need to change the second route, which is already available here, where I'm going to just write tabs. So it is going to navigate to tab screen by default. Let's go for it. I'll just remove it up and just look at it. This is a tab screen that is coming up, and within the tab screen, I'm going to prepare the children of it. Children in this manner, in which I'm going to move the home screen inside. So to move the home screen, Alt plus upper button, and it's going to move within that. It's done. Great. So once that is done, we need to prepare our tab screen. Let's go to the tab screen and work on that. So I'll go to the HTML and make all the changes here. I'm going to remove everything whatever I have till now and do everything from the scratch. And in the TS file, well, what do we need to do? We don't need anything as such. Forms module, common module not needed because we are using standalone. And to create this project, well, I didn't show you up. If some of you do not know how to create a new project, for those, all right, this is how you create a new project and then smoothly go ahead. Well, -f standalone was not working, so I have to select the standalone once again. And finally, the application was ready and we just ran Ionic serve. That's it. Coming back to the project, what else I need to do? Well, let me clear up everything here. We don't need anything as such. So all cleared, and my imports will also be cleared now as we are not using any of this. All right. So far, so good. Great. Now in the tabs page HTML file, I will work with ion tabs and ion tab bar as we always do. Now here, what have I done? I've given an identifier called tabs, which we are going to work with in TS file. Also, I prepared an event, ion tabs did change. So whenever the tab is changing, we are going to track it down. Why we need to track it down? Because the design which we saw earlier, we have to make some changes within our design. That is why we need to track the tab change. So the active tab is the one where we are going to change the design. Let's prepare this functionality also. To do that, I'm going to use viewChild function from signals and also selected tab, which will be a writable signal function that will be of type any, or if you don't want it to be any, you can pass either string or null. That would be better. Try to avoid any as much as you can. That would be better to work with TypeScript. Now after this is done, I'll get down and create the function called set current tab, where I'm going to set this particular value. Now what is wrong here? Type. All right. So it is saying that if it is undefined, it is not assignable. So I'm just giving an exclamation symbol so that it is never undefined and it will have some value. Okay, clear? This is done. Now I'll go back to the HTML file where we need to prepare the design part. Now what all screens do we need? We need the home screen. We need one for the wish list, one for the bag or orders, and one for the account or profile. So let me quickly show you what exactly I'm going to do within the ion tab bar. So within the ion tab bar, let's say I'm passing ion tab button. The first button will be for home, that is why tab home, that is going to redirect to the home route. So the route name should be same. Now if the selected tab equals to home, obviously we are going to do what? We are going to show the label, and below the label, I will have a div to which I've given a class of bullet dot. Now I need to work with the SCSS file to show the bullet dot, okay, which you are going to do now. But before that, let me just get rid of all the errors, because if this is not the selected one, I just need to show the icon, which will be home outline. Now none of the icon will show up. And what is the reason behind that? Since we are using standalone. So in standalone, you need to do one extra thing. If you're using ng module, you don't need to do that. But in standalone, you need to add icons and pass all the icons here within the constructor. So I'll also add all of them. I will use home outline. Suggestion is not coming up. So I'll just scroll towards the top and add it directly in this way. All right. Now you can see the icons are showing up, which is great. None of them is selected by default. That is why none is showing. Now let's get back to our HTML file. We have seen what we have done so far. I need to go to routes to make some arrangement. And what will be that arrangement? Basically, when you are within the children, I need to define a default route here also. So it's going to be the same stuff only what we did at the top. Let me just copy it up and scroll till here. So if the path is empty within the children, I'm going to redirect to /tab/home. That's what I'm going to do. And you can see now we are within the home screen directly, and we do see the label here. We don't see the dot because we need to perform the SCSS for that. So let's go to the tabs page SCSS file to work on it. But before jumping to the bullet part, I also need to design something within my iron tab bar, which is going to look something like this. Just check this out. Within the iron tab bar, I am just mentioning how much width I need to use so that I can have some spacing on the left and right side. Margin will be auto so that it is at the center. Then background transparent, I don't need to pass any color in that. It will take the background color itself, whatever is available. Remove the border also. And within the iron tab button, changing the color, and the one that is selected will have a different color, that is a primary color. That is what it is showing up. The one that is not selected will have light gray color, which is working pretty nicely for us. And given exclamation important, sometimes if it doesn't work, definitely you can use this up. Fine. So after this is done, what do we need to do next? Well, we do have the iron label also, we can work on that. And within the iron label, we do have the div where we have the class called bullet dot. Now within the iron button, I need to work on all of it. The icon, the label and the bullet dot. So let me show you what exactly I have done here. Within the iron label, just passing the font size. So this font size medium, I'm going to prepare it in my variables or SCSS some custom values that I'm going to give there. Okay, don't need to worry about this. For the time being, it's not going to show up anything, so it's okay. Now font weight to be bold, display flags, direction is column wise so that it is aligned one below the other. Everything as the center, and for the bullet dot, I've given height and width and border radius of 50 pixels, 50% so that it is round shaped. And border and background color, I've given it as primary, given some margin top so that I have little spacing between the iron label and the div. Now this is it. Apart from that, I will also pass the font size to the iron icon. Now icon size medium, how much is going to be? For that, I'm going to define everything within my themes variables.scss file where I'm going to pass the theming part, the colors, the font size, the icon font size and everything. Now look at the variables. Now look at the variables.scss file where I have the theming part as yellowish, whatever we have seen in the design. I'm keeping the same theme itself. So this is my primary color, the yellowish color. Then we do have some secondary color, which is a dark color. And then the tertiary success color also I have passed. If you don't pass any color, it's going to take the default color. Okay. So the default color, let's say that is for warning, will be taken if I don't pass any warning color of my own. Similarly, I pass all the other stuff. And finally, after everything is done, I have passed some text color also, whatever I need to use wherever I want. And after doing that, I have also passed the font size custom variables. So this is the one which we use there. And that's what we have to do to make it work so that I can use the variable wherever I want. Also, along with that, some spacing is also passed if you want to use it. Then the button sizes are also defined, which you can use wherever you want. So you don't have to like create it again and again or pass the values again and again. So this is a good way of working with all this stuff. And finally, the icon sizes is also mentioned. You can use any one of those throughout the application. This is the best part. Once that is done, look at the design part. So the theming is changed now, and the icon size is also changed along with the label too. Great. So the theming is done. The tabs part is ready. What next we need to do? We need to start off with the home screen. Let's get to that. Let me clear up everything and move to the home page where I'm going to start off with the header part, of course. Now let's look at the design once again. In the header part, what do we have? We just need to pass the search bar and an avatar at the end. So this whole thing I can pass it within a single row within the iron toolbar because the toolbar needs to be present. Otherwise the design will break. And if you have some status bar, definitely it's not going to show up properly. So toolbar is important. And within the toolbar, I'm going to do everything. So let's build it up. For doing so, let's get rid of this title. We don't need that. And we don't need the translucent, but we need a class iron no border, as we don't need any border which is coming by default in every scenario. You will be able to see that if I just remove this full screen and all the other things which is being passed here. There we go. Once that is removed, you will see something is coming up. The background color is different, but we don't see any border here, which used to come in normal design. Now let's get moving with the toolbar here, in which I'm going to pass the color as secondary, the dark color. There you go. And after that, we'll start off with iron row, and then I need to work around with the iron column. So 2 columns I need to have. The first one will have a size of, let's say, 10, in which I'm going to pass my iron search bar. What about the other one? The other one obviously will have size 2, in which I'm going to pass my iron avatar that is going to hold an image in this way. Alright, great. This is not SEC, it's SRC. Now within the iron search bar, we need lots of attributes to be passed like this. So debounce the color of the iron search bar, and then an identifier so that we can modify it or work with it in the TS file. Then what is the input mode? It is search, so it's going to show up in the keypad in that particular manner. Type is search. You can create it in this particular way. I've given a custom class to it. Mode by default is iOS. That is what I've kept. So in Android also you will see the iOS mode, which is great in some designs, of course. Then a placeholder is must, and if you click on it, where it's going to redirect, that is what it's being passed, but we don't have any such route available as of now, as we haven't created any more pages as such. And finally, show clear button, never. So it's not going to show the clear button. So that is what we have done here. It's time to get the image and fix this design also. So to work with the search bar design part, at first we are going to move to my global.scss file and start working with a lot of things. Now here, what all things I need to do, I'll show you what all designing I'm going to apply, a lot of them. So I've started off with passing the text sizes. I've prepared the custom classes like X, small, large. These are for the font sizes or text sizes, you can see. Mostly all of them I have prepared it here. Directly use the class wherever you want and your work will be done. Similarly, font weight also I prepared the classes. Only one class I prepared so far because that's the most frequent one that I'm going to use in this application. If you have some more, definitely you can go ahead with it. Then comes the search bar, as we have to pass the search bar classes here itself. Otherwise, it's not going to work if I pass it within the home screen. Mostly it happens. So definitely you can try it out. So we already know that we have passed a class where I'm passing padding to be 0. There won't be any padding available. If there is any, border radius 20 pixel, then the color is being changed. That is why you see a different color here. As I pass the primary color, that is the yellowish color. Now the text color is little yellowish. Then the input box that we had earlier, I worked on that also within the search bar, changing the border to 1 pixel solid and the color is little darker. That is why we don't see it quite visible. Changing the font size of the input text and passing a background color. That is why the background color is also changed now, which is looking great. Finally, given a box shadow, little bit of box shadow, which is not quite visible, but when you start typing on it, possibly you will see the experience in your mobile phones mostly. Anyways, coming back to the height of the search bar, which is capped to 40 pixels. So all these changes I have made here so that the design that we are looking for, we get the same design. Now, the interesting part is this search button. How do I got it here? This is very, very important. Now look at this. Search bar input container where I'm working with the iron icon, and in the iron icon, I'm passing a background color of the primary color. That is why you can see here, there is a background color, border radius of 50 pixels. So to make it circular, given some padding within that so that it has some spacing within the image or the icon. So the icon and the background will have some spacing because of this. Opacity 1, definitely it will be fully visible, and the color is white of the text. That is why this icon color is white here. So doing so gives us this particular result. If we don't pass this up, definitely it's not going to show up the same result. Look at this. It's coming at this starting point, which is the default behavior of a search bar. But we need it at the end. That is why I have passed inset inline start is initial. So it comes to the initial point, no spacing, nothing. And I'll move it towards the end where where I passed value to be 0 pixels so that it is attached towards the end. This is what you need to do. Got it? Finally, working with the input to make the iron inline start of 20 pixels. If I don't pass it up, we won't have this spacing at the starting part. Look at this. It will be moving little bit towards the right side if I just don't pass it. Okay. So basically it has more padding by default. I want to reduce it. For that, I'm just passing 20 pixel here and making the font weight to be bold. So that is what it's being done. Simple, right? So far, so good. Getting back to the homepage HTML file. After the search bar is ready, we need to prepare the images also. So I'll get all the images, whatever we need here. Now I have opened up the assets folder within the Finder and will pass all my icons or images directly here for the products. So the avatar is being passed. Along with that, I've also passed customized font. You can download it from Google if you just search for Google fonts. So I'm using here the Ubuntu font, but to get it work, we need to do certain things. And I'm going to show you how it can be done. And finally, we have the product list. So I have only 3 products as of now, which is being passed here. All are generated with the help of AI. Now I'm using here lexica.art to get all the images. You simply need to pass what kind of images you need and it's going to generate it up for you for free. And you can download it up. So do try this out. Moving forward, once this is done, let me just close it up. Within the theme folder, I'm going to create another folder or actually a file. That would be better, which I'm going to name it as fonts.scss. Alright. Within this, I will prepare the custom font. Now, how to do that? Well, I have already shown it in many applications which we have built in earlier videos that we are going to use @font face to generate it up in this particular manner. So font family, the src is the location of the file which we have passed in assets folder. What kind of format you need, what will be the font weight and what will be the font style of it. So everything you can define it here. I'm getting the bold, the regular, along with that the light, also italic one too. Okay. And even bold, italic also. So too many are there. Whatever you need, you can just get it up. I'm getting all of it and passing it here. All right. So in this manner, it is being prepared. You've seen everything. Do we see any changes as of now? Well, no. Still, one more thing is left to do. I will go to variables.scss file and make a slight change here. What is that change? Well, let me just do it here itself, or you can do it at the bottom. You can pass it in global.scss file also. You can pass it in global.scss file also if you want, but I'm going to show you directly here, which is -iron font family. If I do it, it's going to get changed. If you see here, the font is changed. Now, once that is changed, what I need to do? Well, I don't need to do anything else, I suppose. Okay, I need to pass an image whose source I have not given. So let me go to home page and pass the source, which is going to be asset/imgs/avatar.jpg. If I do that up, I do see a design or image properly showing up. So the so the header part is almost ready. Do we need to do anything here? Well, actually, we need to do a lot of things here. To start off, let's go to our SCSS file and start working with the iron header. To the iron header, I'm going to give a background color of secondary color so that it has a darker color, and along with that, the toolbar, I'm just going to pass the padding here. In this manner, it is being prepared. Just check it out. You will understand. Fine. Now, let me just remove whatever is not needed. Apart from that, we now need to work around with this iron row in which we have the iron column of size 2. We can work with that to make it a little smaller of the same size of the button and align everything at the center. To do so, within the iron toolbar, I'll work around with the iron row in this particular manner. So aligning everything center vertically, passing a margin on all sides so that we have proper spacing everywhere, and then working on this particular icon to make it smaller. I'm saying icon, but it's an image actually. Alright, so this is done and we do see the design working pretty nicely, but not aligned properly. Now this is weird. Why this is not working? Why everything is not at the center? If I just check it out by inspecting it up. So what do I see here? If I just hover on the iron search bar, just look at this. There is some greenish color which is coming up, that is for padding. Now padding is Padding bottom is 15 pixel by default, but I have given padding to be 0 here. So since this is not accepted, I need to pass it as important. If I do that, possibly it will work, and it worked. That is what you need to do. So whenever this kind of a problem you face, go for it. Okay, now this design is sorted, looking similar to the one which we can see within the image itself. Now I'll change the device here to make it more visible. So far we are going great. Let's fix the next part, which is quite simple actually to achieve. We're going to work with the iron content to make that happen. I'll go to the HTML file once again and move towards the iron content part. So to design it, I'll simply make use of the div and iron label within that. So within the iron label, I'll have a p tag, and if you want to change the color, you can use iron text within that. That's what I have done to get the design. Now it is not showing up because I've given the color to be light. So I have to make the background to be dark to make it happen. Now that is why I'll go to the SCSS file to work on it. So for the iron content, where I have this iron label and everything, I'm going to prepare the design, passing the background color to be the secondary, having some padding of course. And for the iron label, well, changing the font size. Now font size is quite big, bigger than what we had in our custom variables. So either you can create one or you can pass this particular one directly. For the p tag also, I needed some margin top and font weight. Definitely I need to change it up. That is why I've done in this particular way. Got it? What exactly we have done here? Quite simple to understand. Now from the last 5 minutes, I have been wondering why the font is not getting applied. Well, that's because I have not called this particular file anywhere in the variables or SCSS, in global.scss or anywhere else. Which is why whatever we have done in our variables or SCSS file related to this is not working. To make it work, let me go to angular.json file instead of passing it directly into the global.scss file, as it creates some problem sometimes. You go to JSON angular.json file where you will find this src global.scss, then themes variable.scss. Simply pass the next file also in that particular location. Once that is done, stop the Ionic serve and run it again, because you have made some changes in the angular.json file. Now, if you just inspect it up, look at the design, it is going to give you the same design with the theming. This is the actual theming which we have applied, and it's looking great now. Let's get back to our homepage HTML, in which we are going to work with the next part, that is the category part. So far we have designed, I would say 30% of the work is done. Next 40% will be this particular part, and the last 30% will be this design. So let's get it done. This is very, very important, the category part. Now, how do I build this? Well, first of all, I'm going to move the code for the category design, or actually the whole horizontal list, outside of the home page. Basically, I mean to say is that I'm going to create a component and pass it here directly within the iron content. Let me show you how it can be done. Ionic G. Let's create a components folder, or actually I need to create a component first. So component, you can type C also. Within the components folder, I'm going to name it as categories. That's what I'm going to do. So a component folder will be created, and within that I'll have the categories component which is created here. Okay. Let me call it directly within my iron content, iron categories. It's not iron categories, it should be app categories. Now it's going to work. Great. So it's imported. You can see category works showing up. Now before designing our categories list, I will prepare some more data here, which is very, very important. To start off, let me just create a command, which is Ionic G interface. I'll create an interfaces folder in which I will have a file called category. Let's create it up, and this will be created just now. There we go. I'll rename it to category.interface.ts. Now there is an interesting change in Angular 20. You will be able to see that if you watched my video on Angular 20 changes related to the file names. So it's very, very interesting. That particular section you must watch. Anyways, now here we're going to make certain changes. And also I'll prepare another folder called dummy data. Dummy data, where I'm going to keep all my dummy data in a constant and export it up. Also, we will have an enum too. You can create it with the help of command also ionic g enum, but I'm going to create directly a folder called enums in which I will have the file, let's say strings.enum.ts, and I'm going to pass on some data here. So what exactly I'm going to have within the strings.enum.ts file, I'm just going to pass the currency. So export enum strings, and if you want anything else than currency, definitely you can pass it here as the enum. So if you need to change the currency, definitely it's the best option. You just need to change it here, and in the entire application, it's going to get changed. Similarly, I prepared the interfaces for category, product, seller, and variety. So the data that I'm going to have will be of this kind. So in the category, we will have the name and ID. You can have the image also for the category if you want to. So I've kept it as optional and commented it up. If you want, definitely you can retrieve that. For the product, this is the stuff that we are going to have: the ID, name, flavor, description, rating, image, the category ID, the price, the cut price, basically the highest price that you can have, but you're giving some discount or something. That is what you're going to show as the cut price. When is the higher price one? Okay, then you will have certain varieties and so on. Then for the seller, well, we will have certain things like the type of seller can be a business, individual, or an app owner, the name of the seller, and all the other details that is needed related to the seller part. Apart from that, we also have a variety list in which you can have the sizes as the variety, the pricing as the variety, and whether it is a default variety that is accepted and whose price is going to show up in that particular way will be the default one. So is default, if it is set to true, that is the default value that is being shown to the user. Anyways, so this is what we are going to have or work with. Now let's move ahead to the dummy data that I have prepared. So the dummy data, I prepared one for the categories and one for the products. In the categories, I just have 3 categories here, which we are just exporting it. Okay. And apart from that, what else do we need? We need the product list. So in the product list, I do have some records like the one that we have here. I'm just preparing the JSON data out of it, okay? And the images, we already have it into our assets folder, so we don't need to worry about it. This is the cut price, the pricing, and all other stuff. Along with that, we have the pricing, and I have not given the cut price here. So let me just give the cut price to be, let's call it, let's say 9.50. What about anything else? Yes, we do have one more. So the cut price here is going to be, let's say 10.99. So anything, I'm just passing it up. Okay, so I think we have just 3 records, which is fine. So you have seen the JSON data as of now, which is working great. To make it work, we have already prepared the interfaces for each and every one. What else we need to do? We need to integrate it with our application now. So to link it with the application, what am I going to do? I will prepare 2 services. One is for the category and the other one for the product. Let's go for it. Ionic G services or service. Within the services folder, I'm going to create a folder called services where I'll create the category service in this manner. Let's go for it at first. And then I'm going to go for the other one, which is product. So now both of them are ready. How do we use it up? Let me just show you. It's going to be pretty simple. Let's close everything and get to category service. Even I can search it directly here without looking for it. Category service. This is the one in which I'm just going to have one functionality called get categories, where I will at first import the interface and then finally the dummy content which we have prepared. You must have already seen that. So I just import it up and we are good to go. Now you can call get categories to get the entire categories data. Similarly, I'm going to prepare the one for the product too. Let's see what we can do here. In the product service, I will be getting the products, but along with that, few more stuff I need to do. First of all, let's get the product, import everything, then get product by ID. So with the help of ID that is being passed, you can also fetch the product list. Since we are working with it locally, so we just need to work around with the find function here.
To get rid of the error, import everything, whatever is left properly. So this is the dummy data, since we need to match the category also, right? Okay, so everything looks fine to me. Let's remove it and import it again. The product interface, why it is not working? Okay, now it will work. It's imported. Great. Maybe the location was the issue. Now it's solved. We are now eligible to pass the content within our home screen. Now in the home page TS file, I'll at first prepare what? Well, I'll call the services and get everything done so that we have the data. Once we get the data, then we can work around with the other stuff. Let me jump to the functionality for that. It's gonna be pretty simple actually. I'll just do a simple step and everything will be ready. In the home page, I'm going to use the computed signal here for the categories, and along with that, I'm also going to use the same for products also. Because in the category service and the other one too, what we are doing, we are returning the data here, right? So when we are returning the data, we can fetch it there here directly with the help of category service dot get categories in the computed signal. So directly we are getting the data and we are working on that. How cool it is, right? Okay, almost done. Let's inject or import the product service also. All the errors are gone. We do have the data within the categories and the products. Now it's time to pass this up wherever we need. We will be needing it first of all within the categories. So I'm going to just pass it here, but I'm going to redesign it up a little bit to have the same, to have this particular stuff within a container. We can have some padding and everything, whatever is needed there in this manner. Now it looks much more sorted. All right, now you can see the error is gone. And why it is gone? Well, I'm going to show you what exactly I have done in this particular component. But before that, I have given a condition here just to be on the safe side that if the length of categories is greater than 0, that means the array whose value is being held within this particular writable signal function, or I think it's a computed function which we have declared, right? It is a computed signal function. So it is holding an array. If its length is greater than 0, then only I will show the data. Fine, this is done. Even you can use defer also if you want to. But defer, I'm going to use within this particular component. That would be better. So I'll get inside the component, but I want to show you how exactly I got rid of the error. I went to the TS file, and within this file, well, I just made the input signal as the required field for categories, which is going to accept the category array. And it is required so that, so if you don't pass it up, it is not going to work. It is going to throw an error. Where it is going to throw an error? It is going to throw the error in the HTML file here. Okay. So this is must. After that, I have some more stuff which is being passed, but I'm going to use it in some time because it has importance. And I will show you what is the importance. So for the time being, just ignore it up. I'm doing this stuff to explain you the stuff pretty quickly so that you can understand each and everything in quick time. Moving to the design part, let's start off with the component for our categories, where we will initiate, like I said earlier, with defer, in which I'm going to check the condition when categories array function, which is our input signal function in this case, if its length is greater than 0, then I'm going to show my design. In the design, what am I going to have? Well, I'll start off with iron row. Within an iron row, I'm going to create a div that is going to have a class called container. You can pass any custom class you want. Within this div, I will have my horizontal list. Now for the horizontal list, I have already explained you how to create an horizontal list dynamically with the help of Swiper.js in my car selling application. So if you haven't checked out the car selling application yet, go and check that out right now. I will directly use the component which I've already copied it here, the horizontal list and list header, which I have used it in my car selling application. So if you check that out, you will understand the explanation what I've done in this horizontal list. Also the list header, which is very, very important as this is little complicated. So I've already covered this part there. If you haven't checked it out, please go and check that out so that you can understand this part pretty easily. Otherwise, explaining again and again won't help. It is going to take a lot of time. So that is why I'm recommending to check that out. Now here, if you have already seen the car selling application, this particular component part, then congratulations, you are good to go ahead. Now here, you must have already seen that we have installed Swiper. So if you do not know npm swiper, this is what you need to install. This package will install the Swiper and you have to set it up, which we have already done into the horizontal list. Just check this out. This is the registration that is required. Without that, this is not going to work. So once that is done, in this dynamic list, horizontal list, which we have prepared, we are working with the Swiper container and we have certain attributes that is needed. Now I have made slides per view and space between to be dynamic. You can have the dynamic value here. And whatever content we are going to pass within the loop, I'm going to pass it here in this particular loop. Okay, that is why it is being prepared in this particular way. Now, there are two other things which can happen. First of all, you can have something after the loop also, like a view all button or whatever you want. So that design can be passed here, okay, with the help of this view all template or the property which I have passed in the TS file. Let me just show you. This is the configuration part, and this part is required for the last card or whatever design you want after the loop. If you're passing something after the loop, definitely there has to be something which you need to pass before the loop, which is very rare, of course. So for before the loop also, I have prepared something here called is first item, which was not there in car selling application. So I have done it and I'm going to explain you that part also. Now, at the end of the loop, it is mostly used in horizontal list, but at the beginning, it is very rarely used. That is why I'm just giving you the option and setting the value of initial value to be false, but in is view all, by default it is true. So if you don't want to use it, you have to set it to false. Remember that. So for the is first item, I have done similar stuff to the one which we have done in is view all. So this is the last part, and for the starting of the loop, before the loop, you can pass the same thing. Just need to change the values and you're good to go. Okay. After doing that, nothing else needs to be done here. You are good to go ahead and make the changes into your categories component. But I think one more thing remains, which is related to the index. In car selling application, I was not passing the index. I was simply passing the item. So I just gave a comma and passing the index also along with it. So if I pass the index here, I need to change the type of data which I will be passing there. I mean to say, let me just show you. Just look at this particular part, the item template, whatever we are fetching the value. So it should be of type implicit T, means T can be of type generic type. And along with that, you will also have to pass the index, which will be of type number. So this is how the pattern should be. Earlier in car selling application, the index part was not there. So this part was removed. Now we have added that up. So now the horizontal list is ready to hold the design that we are looking for. Now, why do I say so? Because in our design that we are going to build right now, the first part is the filter part. That is going to be the first item for which we have made the changes into our application, as this is required in our design. But rest of the thing can be passed within a loop. That is why we will be implementing this whole dynamic horizontal list, which is must. Quite cool, right? But you will understand once we start the implementation part. So in the implementation part, what exactly we are going to do? I'm going to use the horizontal list. So to use that up, I will make use of this app horizontal list component and import it in this particular manner, within which I am passing the item in which I have to pass the array. So in our case, I have to pass the categories array, then item template, which I am going to create right now. Don't need to worry. And there I will pass the identifier as categories template. You will see how it's going to work. I'm also passing the configuration directly here itself in an object. So slides per view, I'm passing 3.6 slides per view, which is going to satisfy our design. Along with that, I will also have space between each item to be 20. Now, if the slide is changed, I'm going to track that with the help of set current slide. So this is the event that is going to get triggered. How do we track that out? Well, in the horizontal list, if you check it out, what exactly we have done? Well, we have prepared, if I just scroll down, you see slide change. I think this was also not there in car selling application. So slide change, if the slide is changed, I will trigger on slide change event, which was there. But on change of it, I will also emit the value of the current index. Okay, that is what I have done so that I can get the value in any component wherever I'm using it up. And at the same time, I'm also passing the same thing here also in the slide to functionality. If you're sliding anywhere else, definitely that particular index also I need. That's why this is done. So get the clear shot what exactly it's being implemented and how we are exactly doing or achieving the result that we desire to. So this is going to return what? It is going to return the current slide index. Along with that, we need the item at the first position. That is why is first item to be true and is view all. I have set it to false. By default, it was true. That is why we have set it to false. And first item template, I will pass something called filter template, which is not yet created. Let's create it quickly. But before that, I'll format the document so that it looks pretty nice. There you go. Now to pass this template, I need to make use of ng template. So I'm going to create two ng templates and I'll show you how exactly I've done. One ng template is for filter template, which is the first item that will be created, in which I will have a button that is going to hold an icon called filter and a text of filter, which is small, which is having the class called small that we have already created in our global.scss file. If I just check it out, this is the global.scss file. If you just check this out for the searching and everything which we have already implemented, and this is a small class where the font size small variable is being implemented and called. So that is what is being done. Also, one more thing remains is that our theming was not applied properly. So basically what was happening is in the font.scss file, well, I didn't call it in variables.scss anywhere. That is why it was not working. So if you just check this file, anywhere in global.scss or in variables.scss, I have not called. So to make it work, I have to go to angular.json. Don't worry, I have already done it. So I'll just show you up. This is the stuff that you need to implement in styles along with variables and global.scss file. If you add this up and stop the Ionic serve and run it again, your application will detect the font family Ubuntu, which we have passed here. Okay, great. After doing that, let's get back to our application categories component where what we have done. Let's check it out once again. So this you have understood hopefully because it is quite simple. Just a button is being designed where you have the icon and text. Similarly, we have another button which is having the small size mode to be iOS. So because I want to show the iOS design, that's quite cool and smaller. In Android, it is little bigger, which I don't want. Now here, if the index is the one that is selected, I want to show the primary color. Otherwise, I want to show the dark color by default, which is not the selected one. And on click of it, I'm going to change the current slide. So we are going to execute this functionality, which we have already seen, we have implemented, but it is commented. I'm going to work on that. But within this button, I'm just passing the name, nothing else. So I'm accessing the name. How? Well, I can directly call let item because in our horizontal list, if I check it out, what we have given here, we have passed implicit as item. So we have to call let item and here it is index. So you have to pass the same names. That is why it is being done in this particular manner. So let item, you can write equals to item or let index equals to index. And it will be detecting the values that will be like this will hold each item from the loop and index from that loop also. We can access it up directly, get the index and the value of the item to fetch the data out of it. That's what we have done. So you hope you have understood this up. Let's get back to the TS file and finish it up. In the TS file, I need current slide, which is now implemented. I'll just import the signal and we are good to go. Also, we need the icon for filter. So I'll just import add icons and filter icon from unicon/icons. If you're not getting the import suggestion, definitely you need to go to import part and do it manually for the first time. For the next time, it won't show the problem. Once that is done, we need the set current slide functionality also where I'm setting the value of the current slide to the value which is being passed in the parameter. That's it. Once I do that up, I'm getting the filter data. So filter data is coming up. What about the others? Let's check it out why others are not showing up. Everything looks fine here. We have given categories template which is being called in our horizontal list. This is the categories template. This is the filter template. So everything is sorted. It should show the data. Why the data is not coming up? We have to check the home page HTML file. We are getting the data out of it in the categories. So if it is not showing up, I think we have to work around with the designing part of it. Let's go and work on it because we have passed everything within a row. Possibly that's the issue. So in the categories SCSS file, I will make certain changes. Starting off with iron row. Now in the iron row, I'll make the background to be dark. If I make it dark, you can see there is something at the top, a line is showing up, and possibly you will see it at the bottom if I make it dark too. Now how to remove it up? Well, I'll use the help of margin and padding to give some spacing also and fill up this gap too. For that, I'll pass margin top of 1 pixel. It's gone from the top, from the bottom also. If you pass it black color, you will see it will also go away. Then some padding at the top and padding inline start is being given. So top and inline start is being given, which is looking nice. After that is done, I'll work around with the container class, which is within this iron row, and make the width to be 100% along with the height is fixed to 8 VH and some margin top is being given. If I don't pass width to be 100%, see the design is not showing up properly. So definitely you need to pass 100% width. Remember that. After doing that, you can see the design is almost done, but still there is one issue with the design part that is related to the button. So the button that we have created are not of same sizes. If I fix the width of it, definitely it will be of same size and I'll change the border radius also a little bit. To do that, well, it's not that tough. It's quite simple. Within this container div, I'll work around with the iron button, fixing the width, border radius, and giving some padding on top and bottom to the text. So now the button is looking bigger and better. Now it is the same design that we have built here, right? Let's jump to the next part, which is our product part. Now before moving ahead, I would like to make a shout out. Well, shout out, it's not for a person this time, but it's actually for the component that we have built. If you just check this out closely, what exactly we have achieved? We are able to reduce our time by using the same component again. If we try to build it up, definitely it's going to take time for you to understand how exactly you can make it dynamic, right? So these components are actually widgets that I have built, and that is why you can use it in any application you want. So keep it very nicely and use it wherever you need. Make necessary changes which will make it more dynamic and give you more flexibility. For the time being, we have already implemented it for our categories. It's time to implement the next part, which is for the products. For the products, I'm going to create another component. I think I haven't created it yet. So let's create it now. Ionic G, C4 component within the components folder, and I'm going to name it as products. Now this is created. After this is created, we need to do the same thing that we did earlier, but before working with the products part, I first have to initiate the process or the component in my homepage HTML file. And the process will be same. I'll give the condition at the rate if products function dot length. If it is greater than 0, then what am I going to do? I will call my app products. Okay. Here also I am going to pass the products data in this manner. So the homepage part is done. Time to jump to the products page, or I would say product component, in which at first I will work with the TS file. So let me just close all the files. Only 2 files are needed to work with. One is the product.ts file and the other one is HTML file. So these 2 files are only required. Let's go for it. Now here also we need similar stuff that we have done in the categories part, like the current slide and all other stuff. So let me show you quickly. Here also we have implemented current slide. We have also implemented the products as the input signal. Let me import everything, and I've made it a required field so that you don't pass it up, then you will get an error. Everything is getting imported one by one. Once the importing part is done, I also have currency here because I will be showing it in the display, which you can just see it here. We are passing dollars and everything. And any other currency, you can simply change it in the strings.enum that we have created. And I'm going to use it directly here. So this is also dynamic. See how much dynamic content we are using. It gives your application much more flexibility to adapt in any situation. Now import all the other stuff. We will be needing the star icon and add icon this time. So both of them are imported. Don't worry, you will see where exactly do we need. I can explain you in the image which I already have. So you can see here, this is the star icon and this is the add icon. That's what we need. After that, simply using the set current slide function, and that's it. Now the TS file part is completed. It's time to move to the HTML part and work on it. The HTML part will be also similar to the one that we have already implemented, but this time we don't need anything called is first item. We directly need the container. I will not be using any iron row this time, since we don't need to fill up the additional lines that were present, right? That is why the iron row was used, but here we don't need that. So I'll be using @differ and all of the stuff like we did earlier. So this products was not needed. So if products length is greater than 0, then only it will be visible on the viewport. After that, I'm using the horizontal list. Let me import it. Imported. The error is gone. For the product template, I will create ng template now. And what's next? Okay, this closing tag will come after this. Now the error should be gone. Yes. I don't need anything at the end. I don't need anything at the start, which is fine. On slide change, we already have the functionality in ready. I need 1.8 slides per view, which means that this whole one and the other one almost 80%. That is why 1.8 in a single view. And space between the two will be 25. This is the configuration which I have built. It's time to create the ng template within this, where we are going to perform the designing for the product. So either you can create another component for product item design, or you can do it here itself. So for the time being, I will do the stuff here itself. I'm going to start off with a div called item card as the class. This is the custom class which I've created. You can give any name you want. Now there is a challenge within this design. What is the challenge? What do we have here? We have an iron thumbnail. This is the thumbnail which we have as a design, looks similar to the iron thumbnail which we already keep. So we can customize it in our SCSS file as per the requirement. But the point is that I have a div here which is holding the thumbnail along with this particular card. The white part is the card. Within the card, we will be having this iron item. Why this iron item should be there? Because it is aligned in that particular way, which is very easy to design with iron item. As we have iron label, within that we have the P tag, and on the right side we have the item. We can slot it towards the end and pass it up. You can use iron row and column also, but I think iron item will suit better here. Now apart from that, what do we have? We have a fab button. So fab button I can directly pass, making the div position to be relative, so that not the div position, sorry, the card position to be relative, so that it doesn't move outside or it doesn't get deep inside. It will stay relative to this particular card only. Okay, that is why position relative is must, and we are going to place our fab button on the bottom right side. Last but not the least is the pricing part. Now the pricing design is having a font size bigger than the title or the item name. Why? Because I want to highlight two things. One is the thumbnail and the other one is the price, so that the person can easily decide what exactly they want to order. And then comes the name. So for the pricing, I'll create a div and just pass it outside of the sign item, making it bigger. That's it. So this is how I'm going to design it up. Got the point? Now let's do it practically and try to understand what exactly the challenges that we are going to face. To start off, I will go with iron thumbnail within this. Now the iron thumbnail will not get imported automatically. I have to go to the TS file and do it. As of now, the Ionic team has not fixed this issue. Hopefully they will do it in near future. So where do I need to keep it? Well, I don't have any imports for that. So do I get a suggestion? No, I'm not getting any suggestion. So I have to do it manually. It's gonna be import iron thumbnail from at ionic/angular/standalone. Since I'm using a standalone project, that is why we are going to do in this particular way. Got it? Fine. The error is gone. We can move ahead and work with the other thing, which is I can either have img tag, or since I am using a list, it's better to use img tag, so that the image will be in view only when the whole thumbnail is in viewport. Otherwise, it will not show. It will take the concept of lazy loading, which is actually quite good. Now here I need to pass the src also, which is going to be item ? dot image. And if it is not present, I'll pass a default value. Now all these images and everything is present in my assets folder. Just check this out. In the assets folder, I have the images, products, okay, and font, which is already being implemented, because we already have the font.scss file where we have all the things using the font face and passing it in our angular.json file, which you have already seen, right? Hope you remember that. That's the one. So after having all the images, we just need to do what? We just need to execute it. That's what we are doing it here. Once the thumbnail part is done, we don't see anything as of now. Why? It is saying it's not a known element. Where this error is coming from? Let's check it out. It's coming from home page. And why is that so? It is saying it's not a known element, so I didn't import it possibly. Let's try it once again. Now it is imported. The error should go away. Yes, it's gone. And we do see the thumbnail now. That's great. So fix all the errors and we see the thumbnail working. Once the thumbnail is working, the next thing, like I said earlier in the explanation, that I'll be using an ion card. So I'm just following the pattern, whatever I said to you. Within the ion card, I will have ion item where I don't want any lines. So now lines will be none. And within the ion item, like we always do, we'll have an ion label that is going to show the item name. But I'm going to show the item name within an ion text now. You can directly pass it also, but I prefer to keep it within the ion text so that we can change the color and everything if you want to. And I want to make it bold, so I'll be using the strong tag, or you can pass font weight to be bold in SCSS also. Let me pass the name, that is going to be item dot name. Okay, we do see the name now. Great. Once the name is coming up, what else do we need? We need a p tag. So after this ion text, I will have a p tag. Now within the p tag, I'll be showing the flavor. We already have it into our dummy data. If I just show you up, where is the dummy data? This is the one for the products where we have flavor, image, price, cut price, rating, description, and all of the stuff. So if you want to show the description, definitely you can show, but I prefer to show it within the single item page. That would be better. Since we are not going to design that up for the time being, so I'll just show you with the flavor itself. But there is a condition that I want to pass. If flavor is present, then only I want to show it up. Otherwise, there is no use of showing it. So this p tag will be optional now. I'm going to show you a few things here. Now within this p tag, I have passed an ion text where I'm going to wrap the whole text to show the whole flavor, name and everything, and make the font size to be x small, extra small, that we have already passed in the global.scss file. And if you want to like show the dollar and everything, but I don't want to show anything, so I'll just remove it up. So this is the stuff which we have built till now. We do see the name, the flavor, the thumbnail. What next? Well, we need to show the rating. For the rating, I have to come out of the ion label and make a div in this particular manner. I made a div slot and given a customized class called rating, with the help of which we can work around in the SCSS file. Imported the ion icon for the star that we have already passed in the add icons in the constructor in the which was the file, product.component.ts file. There you go, the star and add. After that is done, I just have a text presented. So now everything is aligned properly, but the sizing and everything is not proper. So we are going to work with that in the SCSS. Once we complete all the things, then I'm going to start it off. So for the time being, we get the data. The next thing which we are going to implement after the ion item is the ion fab button that is going to be wrapped within an ion fab, because in the ion fab we have the option of placing it vertically bottom, horizontally towards the end. So that's what we can do to align it towards the end. But see, this is not aligned properly, so we need to work with the CSS to align it properly. For the ion icon within the add, I given color to be light, so this is light and the background is having the primary color by default. This is done. After the fab, ion fab, I just need to pass the price. For the price, I'll show it here below the ion item. For that, I'll create a div, and within the div, again, ion text will be passed. Now this router link is also present. Don't worry, I'm going to show you up why exactly I passed that. But before that, in the ion text, I'm passing the currency along with the price, and I've passed the color as tertiary. Now for the routing part, what I'll do is, except clicking on the plus button, everywhere else in this particular design, wherever you click, you're going to end up getting inside a single item page. But we haven't created that, right? Still, we can have the routing for that. Now how the routing will be done? Let me just show you. What am I going to do is, within this div, if I click on ion thumbnail, I need to redirect it to a certain route. And that route, I will create it here using @let navigate route. This is my location, tab/product/the item ID. And I will simply pass it here, navigate route. That's it. Copy it up. And where do I need to pass? I won't be passing in the entire iron card, and I'll tell you why. So I'll pass it on the iron item. I've already passed it in where? This is part of the iron item. In the iron fab button, I don't need to work on that. That is why I'm not passing in iron card, because iron fab is a different stuff. If you click on that, I want to add the items. Okay. If you want plus button to again go to the single page, definitely you can pass it in the entire div also. But I want to keep it separate and pass it on the pricing part too. So that is what is being done. Now to get rid of the error, I have to import the router link in this particular manner. Router, this is the one, link. So if you don't use that, if you're using ng module approach, then definitely you already have router module imported in your module file. So you don't need to do anything as such. And here also you can use router module if you have router link active and all other stuff related to router. But since we are just using router link, definitely I don't want router module to be imported. Okay, because the concept of standalone project is to be lighter, and that's what we are going to go for. So I will go to the SCSS file now and start working with the designing part, since the designing is not as we expected. Now for the designing part, I'm going to start off with the container class, in which I will pass the background color, which will be a linear gradient color, because I want half of the portion to be having the color dark. That is why secondary color is being passed, and rest will have a different color. All right. So from top to bottom, it's going to show the linear design to the background. After that is done, I will play around with the item card class. So for the item card class within this container, what will I do? I will have some padding top. But don't worry regarding the padding top, because I'll make this thumbnail to be bigger. Let's go for it. I'll make its position to be absolute so that I can place it wherever I want. Now I'm going to show you the whole designing for the iron thumbnail and the iron image within that, which is little tricky, not much. So just focus on it. I made the position to be absolute. Let's do it one by one, and that would be better. So I'll just hide all the stuff, okay? And see what happens if I make just absolute. From the top, I just need 1.5 rem movement. So this is the top part. For the div, this is the whole div. So it is moved towards the top, 1.5 rem from the top. Then from the left, I want 50%. That is going to move here, but I want it at the center part. For that, I'll use transform in x direction, in x-axis by minus 50%. That's how it is centered up. Then I will change the width of it, the whole iron thumbnail width, to be having 75%, because I don't want to take the whole width. Approximately 75% is required for me. And then I'll fix the height of the iron thumbnail to be 7 rem. That's what we need. Now you can see it is just hiding behind this card, which I don't want. That is why I'm using Z index. I've given any value of 10, even 1 will work. Let's check it out. See, 1 is also working, but I've just given a higher value to be on the safe side. That's it. You can give 999, whatever value you give. Until unless the value of iron card, if you're giving some value to that or any other thing, it will still be on the top. That's what I need. And this height auto was not required. Now the next thing is border radius. This is completely optional if you want this to be passed. Well, see, now this is not getting impacted. Why? Because it will work with iron img tag, which we have at the bottom. So if you don't want to pass it, you can skip it. Then we will also pass box shadow towards it. Box shadow will not be visible much, but a slight box shadow is being given just to give the look and feel, which is not at all visible as of now. But as soon as we do some changes into our design, you will be able to watch it. Now for the iron img tag, I'm giving height to be 100% as of the iron thumbnail. Border radius is being given. Now the border radius has been taken along with object fit to be covered so that it does not shrink or get stretched out. Alright, now the design is showing nicely, which is great. Still, the part is not over as we have to work around with the iron card now. Now for the iron card, I'll start off with height, width and some margin part, because we don't see the content properly, right? So if you fix the height, we will be able to place the content in a proper manner. That is why for the iron card, it's better to pass everything properly. So I'll pass here iron card with a height of 10 rem fixed. Now you see it is working. Width also I have fixed to 98% to have more spacing here, and some margin top and bottom is being given with a border radius, which is looking nice. This design is done. Now I have to play around with the other stuff, that is the iron item. As the iron item is not at all visible, it is hiding behind the iron thumbnail. So I don't want that. I want to pass some margin top so that it is more visible. And to do so, I'll make the changes within the iron card and iron IMG tag for that and iron label tag for that. Also the P tag. So just look at it. Margin top 3.5 RDM, it's now visible. Then iron label, so that if you have a bigger name, I want to show 3 dots. That is why white space, no wrap, overflow hidden, and text overflow is ellipsis. That is why it's being given. And I've also fixed the max width to be 16 VH. You can pass in VW also if you want to. And this was not required. Well, if you want to use it, you can try it up as per your design part, but here it is not required. For iron label and P tag, I'm given margin to be 0. So you just need to test all of it with different styling, whatever you need here to be done. Sometimes some things don't work out as it is planned. So you need to know what all CSS might work. That is why I gave display block there. I was just checking whether it works there or not when I was testing it up. In CSS also, you're not 100% sure what things will work most of the time. In some cases, not most of the time, in some cases, you need to be testing few things to get the desired result. Now coming back to the P tag, simple stuff is being done, which is some margin top and font size, font weight, line height is being changed to normal, and the rating iron text that it has within it, well, do we have within that? Not really. So I just need to get rid of it. I have to place it outside, right? So let me get rid of it. And for the rating, I'll do it separately because we have the class, but that is outside of the P tag. So let's get outside of the P tag and work with the rating class, in which display flags and align item center so that vertically everything will be centered up, font size change to smaller, font weight is increased, and aligning everything to flex start so that it will be positioned at the top, not at the center. By default, it is at the center. That is why we are looking at it almost equal to the name part. Not exactly equal, but almost touching. It would go above that also, but I have given some margin top. That is why it is staying as it is, holding as it is shown. For the iron icon, I have given some margin right. Instead of that, you can also use margin inline and that will also do. All right. Okay. Up till here, everything is great. The next part is the pricing and the iron fab button. So I'll first work with the iron fab button because I want to show some changes that will occur there. Now let me look for iron card. Iron card is getting done here. So I have to pass it before it is getting wrapped. I'm passing a border radius, changing the border radius from 50 pixel or whatever it was, the circular one, to 20 pixels. Also changing the height and width of it, fixing it up. So now this is fixed. But to be on the safe side, what I'll do, I'll also do one more thing for my div called item card. Just to be on the safe side, I'll pass position to be relative and overflow is visible so that it can allow elements to appear outside the card. Okay, that's what I've done. Now you can see on the iron thumbnail, you do see the white background, which I don't want. And to avoid that, I'll give border radius to this iron thumbnail also. Now it's fine. Great. Okay, too much things are being done. Just one more thing is left, which is related to the pricing part. So in the pricing, I'll just have some margin and font weight would be better. So let's jump to the end part and pass it up. Pricing, some margin is being given on the top, bottom and right, along with some font weight to be bold on the iron text within that. That's it. And we have achieved the same design that we see it on the screen. Just look at it. Same stuff. And how quickly we have built, we just put our effort in building this design because the horizontal part was already handled with the help of our widget, right? Just look at it, how smooth it is working. Great. Just click on that. If you click here, well, it's going to give you an error if you just check it here because we don't have any such route available as of now. Don't need to worry about it. You can just create a route to get rid of this problem. Now, once that is done, it's time to move to the next part, which is to show our today's deal. That is also going to be an horizontal list. Let's go for that. I'll close all the files here and start building that up. Now, to create the other kind of a product, which is actually gonna look like this, what exactly we need to do? Well, we at first need to make use of the list header component or widget that we have created to get our header part at first, and then we are going to go for the same process because this is also a horizontal list. If you scroll, you're going to get another item. So let's go for it. And prepare it up. First of all, the header list. Let's go for that. We already have the list header component already copied from the car selling application. And have I made any changes in it? Yes, I do. I have given a condition. If I don't want to show the icon or anything on the right side or slot end, then I can do it in this particular way. I will give a condition that if the button color or button icon, if anything is present, then I'm going to show this particular part. Otherwise, I'll just show the header part. In our case, we just need the header part. This condition was not given in the car selling application. Now I have added it up. Okay. So that's the only change which is being introduced. Now let's go for it and use it up in our application. I'll go to the home screen in the HTML and implement it up. Let's call our app list header. There you go. It is not imported yet. Let's go for it once again. Hit enter. It will get imported. What's wrong? It is asking for required field, which is the heading. Let's check it out. What all things do we have in required field so that it will be clear what all things do we need to pass. So in the list header, we have only one required field, and I think I have removed the button icon or button color from the required field possibly. So I just have to give the heading. Let's go for it. And then the error will go away. So heading will be today's deal. So it is done, but the designing is not as we expected. If you see here, it's quite big and aligned properly. So what should we do for that? Well, not to worry. I will wrap it up within an ion list in this manner and give here class ion margin. But the margin that we have applied here is quite different. So I have to make some changes. Let's go for the ion list header and make some more changes because it depends on the requirement of the application. How bigger do we need this heading? As of now, what is the heading size that we have? Let me just check it here directly. So the heading size is not mentioned possibly in the ion label. Do we have anything mentioned? Well, it is given as XL. So extra large size is being given, but we need more than that. So I'll go to the variables.scss file to check it out. What is the value of extra large font size? This is the one. 1.4 rem is the maximum that I have as of now. So I'll just change it and pass a different value. I think there is one more issue, which is we have extra large, not XL, right? So X large was given. What I'll do is I'll just get rid of it. And instead of passing it directly, also the ion label font weight, let me just get rid of that also. I will directly pass it up. How will I do that? I'll go to the ion list header, not ion list header, it's list header component. And to the ion label, I'll pass the class X large, which we have already created. Now you see it is bigger. So the size was okay, but the class name was different. And the variable name was also different. That is why the problem was coming up, because we directly copied it from the car selling application and we do have some changes in both the applications, right? Okay, so now this is done. What else do we need to do? We have some margin bottom, but I think I need margin top also, or only top. Let me give for the time being only margin top, which is fine. So margin top is done. Only margin left, or I would say on the side, we need some margin. And if I'm doing that, I can also remove the ion list, which we don't need. Instead of that, if I want to use it, I can use the div and pass some custom margin. But you can do it on the ion list also. That's not a problem. Let me just do one more thing here. I need extra margin towards the starting point. So what I'll do, on the ion list, I'll make some changes. Let's go to the SCSS file in which I have only one ion list, so I can work on it directly. Where should I go for? Within the ion content itself. What do we have here? Ion tagline. Okay, fine. Ion list in which I'll pass margin inline start to be having approximately 2 VH. Let's check it out how much it is. It should be inline start. Okay, not much. How about 4 VH? And if you check it now, it's almost proportional, so we can keep that. So this is fine. Let's move to the other part and work on it. Also, if you want to increase the margin, definitely you can do that, like margin top. Even you can change that also. Let's say 2VH, I'll change it. How about 4VH? 4VH is much better, I think. We have a lot more spacing now, which is good. So I'll keep that. So by doing so, whatever we have done in iron margin, two of them will not work. That is margin top and margin inline start that we have customized. Now apart from that, what else do we need? Within this list, I will have my app. Okay, we have not created any component yet. Let's go for it. So I'll create another component, Ionic GC within the components folder. And what should I name it? Well, it can be the coffee product. It can be some other product like fast food or something. So should I name it products 2? That would be better. So let's name it products 2, or you can name it as fast food product, whatever you want. Or in fact, we can also write product variant. Anything will do. Now this is created. I can directly call it here. App products variant. This is what I need to call. And I'm going to pass the same product list. You can change as per the requirement, like you can have some different products if you want to. But I'm going to show the same product for the time being. We are just focusing on the designing part. Okay. So that's done. But I'll pass a condition here like we did earlier. So if we have a products list, then only I'll show it up. Otherwise, not gonna show anything. The whole list will be hidden. Got the point? Great. It's done. Now the next thing that I need to work on is this particular component that we have created. So let's go inside the component. But before going to that, I'll copy everything from the products because almost most of the stuff will be similar. So I'll just copy everything and paste it here in the HTML part. Similarly, for the TS file also, since I'm going to implement the same thing, that is why we need all the stuff that we have here. Just copy everything and pass it on to the products variant. Once that is done, just import all the things that you need. Got it, almost done. One more thing is left. This is the add icons. Do we need the add icons? Let's check it out. Design. We have the star, we have dollar, we have plus, everything is the same. So we do need that. Now there is one more thing that you can do. Instead of passing it in every component, you can in fact pass it in page also, but I will pass it in every component. Once it is registered, it's not going to register itself again. So there is not a problem. If you use any of these component in any other page, definitely you have to pass the same stuff there also. But if you pass it in the component level, you don't have to do it then. So I think it's fair enough. Wherever you want, you can pass it up. Mostly I prefer to pass it in pages, but this time I'm showing you in components level itself. And I've explained you why. After this is done, we have to get rid of all these errors, and then we can start off with the designing part of the list. Or not the list, actually the single product that we need to work with. This time, the slides per view will be 1. Space between I'll keep the same, and rest of the things will be same. This iron thumbnail and everything for the time being. Let me look at the design. Do we need iron thumbnail? Yes, so we do need that, but it has to be within the iron item. So I have to make the changes accordingly within this products template. I don't need to use this card, or do I? I'll be using the card, and within that card, I will be using the iron item. And within the iron item, this time, I'll pass the iron thumbnail. So I'll keep all the stuff which is available here and import everything which is being passed. If you don't need something, we'll remove it later on. Not now. For the time being, let's keep all the stuff ready, even the fab button and everything. All right. And remember one thing, I have not imported any of the design in SCSS file. So it's okay to work with it. I'll go to the product variant before copying it up. I mean to say before working with the iron thumbnail, and pass here router link to get rid of the error that we face right now. I'll get back to the HTML, and within the iron item, where is the iron item? Iron card, iron item. Within the iron item, before the iron label starts, I'll pass my iron thumbnail, where I'll pass slot to be start. So too many things is been done. Let's check it out how it looks like. Or do we have an error now? Required input products. Have I not given it? Possibly yes. Let's check it out. If I don't pass it up, how will I get the values? So products, I'll pass the products function to get the data. So you're understanding, right, what exactly I'm trying to do here. I'll get the data now. Look at this data which is coming up. Not exactly the way we need, but actually all the stuff is ready. We just need to align it properly. to make it work. How do we start off with that? First of all, well, within the iron item, I need to get rid of the div that we have outside of the iron item, which is this particular one. So I'll just cut this off. For the time being, I'll just keep it within the iron item iron label part. There you go. I'll just paste it here. Okay. Now we need to align everything. Let's do it one by one. So how do we start off? Well, I will do one more thing before starting off with the whole stuff, that I'll move this fab button outside of this iron card now. If I move it outside, where do I need to place it? I'll place it at the center, like the design that we need. It will be at the end, but along with that, I need it to pass it at the edge. We have an option to pass it by passing edge to true. So if we do that, it will be on the edge part, and the rating is hidden behind this button. So not a problem, we'll work on that too. So now how close are we with the design? Well, we are a little far. We need to change the background color. We also need to design our iron thumbnail, and all the other stuff should be ready in a proper way. And then the thumbnail, sorry, not the thumbnail, the iron fab button should also look the way that we have created earlier. So let's go for the SCSS part. Since here we have almost achieved all the things except one thing, which is the cut price. Don't worry, I'll work on that also. But let's get that into shape, for which what am I going to do? What do I have here? At the top, I have the container class. So I need to work on that. Let's go for it. So I'm going to start off with the container class. Make the position to be relative so that everything is aligned properly, not outside of it. And to start off, let's work on the iron fab button. Once that is aligned, we will be able to see the other things like the rating, and everything will be aligned properly then. So iron fab button, I'll change the border radius like we did earlier, and the height and width also to be changed in this particular manner. So it is looking little similar. After that is done, I'll work with the iron card that we have inside that to fix the height of it to 6 rem this time. So this is also fixed, making the border radius little round, looking good. Now within the iron card comes the iron item, where I'll make the background color to be transparent and no padding start so that it touches the external part. Also fixing the height to 6 rem here also in both the cases, so that there is no mismatch of height, or you can in fact give 100% too. That should also work. Yes. The next thing I'm going to start working with is the iron thumbnail within the iron item, like we did earlier, changing the height, width, border radius of the image and the thumbnail to fix it the way we like. But our job is half done, because after the iron thumbnail, it's time to work with the iron label. So in the iron label, I'm just wrapping everything up, means the title and everything, with 3 dots if it is bigger than this particular width, and passing some font weight also along with it. Now if you match the design, what's wrong here? Let's check it out. So basically the background color is different. We have some spacing here, but I don't want to give spacing. I think this design is much better. We need to get the ratings out of it and place it here. Also, I need to show the flavor along with the name. So it should be in the same line. I got to change that also. Then the pricing part comes into play. So let's work on that quickly. First of all, let me just close this. And in the HTML file, where is it? There we go. I have to make certain changes. Also the spacing here, because of the iron list that we are using. That's why the problem is coming up. Not to worry, I'll solve it. For the iron card, I'll give a color of light so that we get the light color that we have. Now the color is okay. Then I'll start working with what? With the label here. I'll not make it strong. I'll just remove all this P tag and the iron text from the iron label and replace it. With just the iron text, where I'm passing a class called medium, and color will be tertiary, passing the name, and if there is any flavor, it's going to be shown. That's it. Now medium is a font size class that we have already prepared, so it will be implemented and you will be able to see that. Okay, so this part is done. Do we have it similar to the one that we need? Yes, we do. Then we need to pass the rating also. Let's go for the rating part now. For the rating, I'll use a div like we did earlier and pass the rating directly. Now we need to work with the styling to achieve the desired result for the rating, whereas it is not showing up properly. So after the iron label, or actually within the iron label, let me align everything properly. Let me remove this display block as it was not needed. So here I'm going to work around with this rating class. So in the rating class, we're just aligning everything towards the center, changing the font size to small, or you can directly pass the class there itself. Changing the font weight, self-align to start. So these are minor adjustment which is being made. But what's wrong here? I think there is something wrong because we are not able to see the data. We're getting an error here. And what's the possible error? Okay, I'm passing the function here. That's not needed. I need to pass directly the value. Now this is showing up, which is fine. So some of the classes I think you can skip, or we will try it up now. Let's go for align start. If I don't give it up, there is no harm in it. So you can skip that. Now margin top is required to have some spacing between the two. And instead of margin right, I'll pass inline start. That would be better. If you want to fix it to right, definitely you can go for it. It's not start, it's end. Pardon. Now it's fine. Okay, so far so good. Till here, everything is okay. I just need to remove something which we have done here. So let's go for it. That was also for the rating part. I'll just get rid of this rating which we have implemented. Now we don't have any rating here. The last thing is to work with is the another div that we have. So what do we need to do here? That's quite interesting actually, and quite easy also. Instead of extra large, I'll pass large here, and price class will be implemented. But need to make certain changes within that. What's gonna be that? Let me just show you. Let's move to the SCSS file where we'll make some changes. But before making the changes, I also need to pass the cut price too. Let's go for it. Then it would be better. We'll do everything at once. So after this iron text, I will pass del. So this is another tag which will show the cut price. Class small. So the font size will be small. And I'm going to implement an iron text within that where the color will be medium this time. So it will be light color, in which I need to show the currency, of course. Then the actual price that we have, but there should not be any space here. Item question mark dot cut price. That's what we need to pass. The spelling is wrong here. Let's correct it up. Now it's fine. Everything is sorted. We do see the cut price and everything, which is great. It's time to work with the designing. So in the designing, after the iron rating, let me minimize it. I'll work with the price. So in the price, aligning everything at the center because we have certain items, and giving some margin top so that we have proper spacing between all the other items. Then working on with iron text to make the font size bold. You can also pass strong tag if you want to. Then lastly, the delete part that we have, well, I need to show the cut mark, right? Properly, because the color should be different. The danger color I need to pass, and it should be in a proper pattern. That is why I'm using this pseudo class after. Okay, so just check it out. You will understand how I'm removing all the decoration and all the basic part, because what happens when you use del tag, that it will cut it up horizontally directly in a straight line, which I don't want. I wanted a tilted line. That is why I'm doing this up. And once we do that, I've rotated it to minus 20 degree and we got the desired result. So this is what is being done. You can simply check it out. Finally, an item, I need to change the height. If I don't change it up, it might create some problem in production. So it should take the complete items that are available within that. Already we have fixed the height, but still I'm just passing it to take the complete data. It should not leave anything. Now I think we are almost close, but we need to fix the spacing here. If we see the design, it's almost close. So how do we fix this up? Well, we have to make certain changes into our home screen because we use the iron list where we have made certain changes. So if you make certain changes, definitely you need to be assured that you don't need to pass any extra margin here, or if you're passing, then you have to remove it from the iron list. So let me just show you what exactly we have done here and what exactly we need to remove. The best way to check is to inspect it up. So let's go for it. I'm inspecting it. Now, this is what? This is item card that we have. So within the item card, we do have the complete card. That's all right. So let's me just close everything and check it out where exactly we are going wrong. If I check this variant, what do we have? We have the class container within which we have the entire data. But the main design part is coming from iron card itself, right? So what I can do, instead of making changes in the class container, I'll make the changes in item card class because I need to make the changes within this div that we have here, right? That's the first thing I'll change. And then what is the next step? Well, next step is to reduce this margin that we have here. So to reduce that margin, what am I going to do? Well, first, once again, I need to check it out. Now to resolve this problem, I have removed the margin inline start from the iron list. Margin top is fine. Then I'll move to list header and make one change here. I'll give some space to pass some custom class. Now to make that work, what am I going to do? I'll have another field called custom class. The errors will go away and I have one more option to pass it. So I'm not using ng class, I'm just passing it directly within the class itself, the variable. Now, as it can take one more value, so let's go for it. Custom class, and I'm going to prepare a class called, let's say, heading, which I'm going to create within my iron list. So dot heading, in which margin inline start will be 4vh. Let's check it out whether it works or not. So the heading class is not implemented. Why? What if I pass it within the global.scss file? Sometimes this problem happens. Or if I pass it outside, will it work? Not exactly. Let's check it out by passing it in global.scss file. Sometimes that creates a problem. So let me just scroll towards the bottom and pass it here. There you go. See, this is getting implemented. So I'll change the value to 2vh. I think that would be better. There you go. It's done now. Okay, so that's how it works. We have sorted it up and our design is almost done apart from this button, which should be little more towards the edge part. As we can see in the design, it is more on the edge. So we need to work on that. Also we need to have some box shadow a bit more. Let's work on that too. Rest is completely fine. So to solve this problem, I'll go to products variant.component.html file and pass some padding on my iron card to make the iron card a bit smaller. Let me pass iron padding horizontal. If I do that up, see, it is getting squeezed and we have a proper design here now, which is looking nice. So what else is left? Even I need to make it a bit more bigger. According to the design, it should be a bit more bigger, right? So let's work on that once again. So to solve this problem, well, again, I have to make one more change. Exceeding the heading size of margin inline start to 4vh. And why do I need to do that? Because I have reduced the margin that I passed in home screen for the iron list. I've removed the class iron margin and that's why I need to do that. But still, one more thing is left, which is related to this particular design as it is not centered up or we have more spacing here. So what do we need to do for that? Well, I've already fixed the iron item size. I think I've given 100%, right? So I think I have to fix that to 6 rem possibly, then it would work fine. Let's check it out. So this is the iron item. If I change it to 6 rem, 0%, well, no, it's the same size only. So by changing the size and everything, nothing will work. What else I can do? Well, I can go to the iron list header, center the slides, which means if I pass here one more thing called center slides to be true, then I think it should be centered up properly. Now if I check it here in the design part, look at the iron card. The spacing on the left and right side, the empty part that we have outside of the iron card is same, isn't it? So this part and this part is having the same size. So if I have to reduce it, well, definitely I have to reduce the whole iron item size. That can be done, but I don't think that should be done. So I can keep it in this particular manner if needed. And also the padding is fine. It's the same thing on both the sides. So I think I'm happy with that. If you want, definitely you can move this button towards the left side a bit. And how that can be done? Well, we can move it outside of the edge, or we can keep it on the edge but pass some margin to it. So you can just work around with it if you want to. But I think I'm happy with this design because everything is proportionate. So we can keep the same design and it's working pretty nicely. Well, that's looking great. So let's keep the same stuff. And center slides was not needed, so I'm just going to remove it. It's not impacting our design so far, but if you want to keep it, definitely you can. Otherwise, simply remove it in this particular way. That's it. So we have successfully implemented our design, which is looking great. So that's how you can make use of the widgets and get the desired result in lesser time. So this is the end of the video. I have a request for you all. If you haven't checked our website yet, lot of content, lot of courses and products are available for you to buy it up and enhance your learning skills, along with lots of widgets, lots of predefined products are already available. If you want those, go and check our website right now. You can also check the product list which is shown below the video. That will also help you to buy it quickly. So from anywhere, you can definitely go for it. Now, one more thing I would like to share with you. If you haven't subscribed the channel yet, do subscribe it now to get the latest updates on the upcoming videos. Along with that, also many of you watch our videos but don't subscribe. Why? Please do that. You just have to click the button and it's done. Finally, do the rituals, hit the like button, share with your friends and family, whoever wants to learn all these things. And that's all for today. See you next time.